this reading you'll meet a number of sailors and passengers, including Black Jack, an Irish sailor, Fanny Wordsworth, my 49-year-old great-great-great-grandmother, her 23-year-old son Charlie, my grandfather's grandfather, and their fellow passengers, 3-year-old Wattie Walker and his parents. At this point in the story, the weather has been foggy for 3 days, and the captain is not quite sure of the ship's exact position. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and the crew cannot see more than a ship's length ahead. It is cold up on deck. There is a light southwest breeze and a steady drizzle, and the darkness is made thicker by the dense, soaking fog. The lookout boy, who has been keeping careful watch for the treacherous rocks of the Crozet Islands, has just told the sailor, Black Jack, that he thinks land is near. Hurrying out on deck, Black Jack heard it straight away, the dull rhythm of waves breaking on shore. "Hard a starboard," he yelled. "Breakers right ahead." Far away near the back of the ship, the man at the wheel, bright-eyed little darky fellows, did not hear. Jack yelled again, louder. "Hard a starboard." First mate Ramsay was running forward from the poop. "Hard a starboard, starboard forebrace." Jagged rocks loomed through the fog on the starboard side as Black Jack and the other sailors began pulling the heavy yards round to change the ship's direction. "She'll clear it, boys," called the sailmaker. And then the ship struck. Over 4,000 tons of iron and timber, cargo and passengers smashing into serrated volcanic stone. Rock tore through the iron hull, first on the port side, then on the starboard. Water surged into the lower hold, bursting open the twin decks. Within 15 minutes, 39 people were drowned. Lying asleep in her cabin, Fanny Wordsworth was woken by a series of jarring bumps. I was knocked violently backwards and forwards in my berth. The bumping was followed by a crunching and grating sound which could not be mistaken. She and her cabin mate, 18-year-old Maggie Henderson, jumped out of bed. We had just lit our lamps when Charlie and Miss Henderson's brother came to our cabin. "Mother, the ship has struck and is quickly settling down. You have not time to dress, only a moment to put on what you can." They left us. We never spoke. I helped the poor child to dress. She was pale and trembling. I did not take time to dress myself fully, merely putting on my dressing gown and tweed tunic. My sealskin jacket was unfortunately locked up, so I huddled on my warm shawl and tied up my head warmly. This took us about 3 minutes, at the end of which time Charlie and Mr. Henderson again appeared. They went to the saloon, where Fanny had played cards a few hours before, and were about to go up on deck when Charlie recalled some things he left behind. Telling his mother to wait, he went back to his cabin. As soon as the ship struck, the remainder of the crew came tumbling out of the forecastle. The captain rushed out on deck too. "Oh dear," he was heard to say. "What is the matter? What is the matter?" The Strathmore was tilting over to starboard, water right up to her main hatch. Ramsay ordered the men aft. "All hands clear away the boats." Up on the poop, Darky Fellows was still at the wheel. The sailmaker asked Captain MacDonald if he should fetch sails for the lifeboats, but was told there was no time. "Clear away the boats, boys," called the captain. "Fast as you can." 15-year-old apprentice Harold Turner was on the poop. "Then succeeded a general rush," he wrote later. "Some of the passengers getting into the boats before they were swung out, and the sailors pulling them out again. Some swearing, some shouting, some praying. All this, intermingled with the screams of the women and children, and the extreme darkness of the night, made a scene more easily to be imagined than described. All was confusion. Each one seemed bent on his or her own safety, and consequently there was much strife." Below decks, Charlie was back in his cabin. "I unlocked my box and took out of it a little safe, in which was £155 in Bank of England notes, enclosed in a sort of leather pocket book, and and which I put in the breast pocket of my coat. Also a revolver and a sheath knife. The latter I put in my belt. The only thing I forgot was a cap. Otherwise I was fully equipped for anything that might turn up. Instead of waiting for him, Fanny returned to her own cabin to fetch a pair of blankets. I ran back to our cabin, water gurgling and swirling about everywhere. She saw 3-year-old Wattie's father, Alfred Walker, standing white and trembling at his cabin door with his child in his arms while his poor wife was distracted about means of saving the baby. When she got back to the saloon, Charlie had not yet returned. Thinking he remained too long, I followed him and begged him to come at once, for I heard the captain from the poop call aloud in an agonized tone, "Now then, come!" Charlie and Fanny made their way back through the saloon and up to the companion hatch, which was still partially fastened, leaving only a small hole to pass through. Fanny was forced to drop her load of blankets. Up on deck there was a lifeboat and a quarter-boat on each side of the ship, the quarter-boats being about half the size of the lifeboats. The quarter-boats were stowed forward of the lifeboats and had to be launched first. Third mate Allen went over to the port quarter-boat with Ramsay and several other men, including Black Jack. They hoisted the boat just clear of the chocks on which it rested, then tried to push it out. It would not budge. It was so dark, said the third mate, that you could hardly see a person alongside of you. They worked on the boats for about 5 minutes before letting it back down onto the chocks. It was jammed and could not be got out. Third mate Allen crossed over to help the men working on the starboard quarter-boat. That was jammed too. He returned to the